All right, Woodworks by Snyder back at it. We yesterday we finished this, right? So basically burned in around the edges of where I painted. I think it gives a little more pop. So right now what we're gonna do is attempt to, I'm just mixing up some epoxy here. Attempt to paint this in, very light coat. What I want it to do is kind of start sealing these, all these little seams. You know, if I was just to pour it in right now, obviously it's gonna run down into this edge here and then go between the staves, the barrel staves, and then just essentially leak all over what is essentially a brand. I mean, this is like, you can eat off this floor, and you know, I just can't have that getting any epoxy on this. I mean, this sucker's, that's nice floor right there. So anyways, yeah, if I was just to pour that epoxy in right now, it would just soup. It'd probably glue the sawhorses to the floor, the table to the sawhorses, and probably the barrel to the table. So we have a solid wine barrel workbench permanently fixed to the, is this like one hair? It's like one mustache hair just keeps getting into my view. It's jacking me up. Is that good? All right, thanks. Anyway, so we'll mix this up and we'll kind of paint it on. Try to give a good coat. All right. Dumpage. Obviously, this stuff does not spread. Oh, just put some on my shoe. Guess I should concentrate on this this area, this little, I don't know what you call that. It's like the bevel of the top. And there's a groove that runs through the barrel staves. I guess it's spreading pretty good. We're getting there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So we're not going to be able to fill all these cracks, but the idea is to almost like build it up to a point where if I did pour, then it's not going to run all over the place. I'll do the same thing, let this dry, do the same thing to the underside. Maybe do a flip-flop like that so we can seal everything. Definitely shines up nice. That's a loose one right there. It's like Brad Pitt, river runs through it right there. I might have mixed a little too much. It's alright. Fill these laces. That's what we'll do. Back in the shop after a little break. We're gonna basically epoxy the bottom side, the underside of this table that we're working on here. So we'll put a coat on. Got some mixed up, kind of trying to let the bubbles, some of the bubbles come out. It's not that big of a deal on the underside, but I still would like it to be nice and clear. So that's what we're doing. Looks almost white because there's so many bubbles in it, but they'll dissipate. All right, it's still a little tacky, but it's set up, pretty much stopped bubbling at this point. It's still tacky, but you can see some of the cloudiness, those micro bubbles are still in there. But it is the underside of this table, so I'm happy with it, you know. This underside will be attached to this, you know, drilled from underneath into this, so you're really not going to see this at all, but it's going to seal up nice. I think most of those joints, at least in these, what I was really worried about is this corner like this, where these pieces of wood go into these barrel staves, and I think it's going to hold up nice. There are some drips. It did drip a little bit through the top side here, but we'll fix that when we flip it. We flip it and start filling the other side. You can see some of this paper from this board that I got it sitting on. It's stuck, so I just shifted it. But we can sand that stuff off and make it nice and nice finish. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Basically a nice finish, sanding finish on the top side, ready for more epoxy. So what we'll do now, we'll let this set up, and then probably in the next day or two flip it, right? So the top side, and we'll sand that epoxy that was on the top side, on the logo side. We'll sand that. So with epoxy, when you do multiple coats, you can build up multiple coats, but there's a period there where it's still warm, like the chemical reaction still happening between the hardener and the resin. And if you want, you can, there's a period there where it's still tacky, right? And you can pour another level on top of that, and that chemical, that's what they call a chemical bond between those two layers of epoxy. and you can build up that way. But in this case, we let the top set, so it's hard. You know, it's been sitting for a couple days at least, more like a week. So in order to get a good bond between that second level and that existing level that's there, you got to sand it. And so we use a finer grit, like a 220 or something like that. All we're doing is scratching up that top coat, and then we'll vacuum it so there's no dust or anything like that, and pour a second level on top of that. So the idea with this second coat that goes on the top, we're going to try to fill where those top barrel parts bevel down into the barrel staves. These are the individual staves. I'm saying that correctly, stave, right? And so there's a notch, there's a groove cut in that stave, and that top and the bottom basically are wedged into that groove. And so we're going to do a sand all around there and then pour another level just in that bevel part, or attempt to anyways. We want to pour it so that fills so it's level with the top. That's the goal. And so we'll wrap it up with this part, the second part of this video. We're going to wrap it up with that. I think we've got a good coat on the bottom. That'll be fine. Little Woodworks by Snyder kind of coming through there. Not that anybody will see it. But we'll let this set, harden, and we'll flip it. Part 3, hopefully it'll just be a part 3. The guy I'm making this for, we were going to do basically level the top, right, with epoxy. And then the idea was that we have these World Series patches for the Red Sox, right? And for every year they won, pretty much fills out the clock face, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, almost. All right, they haven't won that many, but they have won a lot. So the idea was to put those patches on there and then pour another level of epoxy over it, right, to kind of suspend those in there. But the idea now with this is that it may busy up the look, and the guy is loving the look of this, the top side right now with the B and the stitches. It's got this 3D look. It's very cool looking. So I don't think he's going to go with that. So I say it may be end with a part 3. But if it goes longer, maybe it'll be a 4-part. But we'll wrap this up with this, and then part 3 will be us flipping and working on the top and finishing it up, putting it on the table stand. This is the actual stand itself. You've seen this before, but right now this is secure to the underside, and we'll put the tabletop, we'll flip and sit right on there, and will be a nice little side table, occasion table. I'm not sure what you use that for, but it's pretty damn sweet. All right, so thanks for joining. Make sure to like the video. Definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel. Once you subscribe, hit the little bell, and that will notify you every time I put a video out. All right, thanks for joining. Woodworks by Snyder. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you on the next one.